Okay, so I'm live, I think. Yep, I'm live. So hi and welcome to my channel. Some artwork. Today I'm going to continue with the page 38 from my comic book Niels Feynman's Time Traveling Adventures. Sorry for the delayed start. I'm not feeling too well. I may have to end the stream a little bit early. We'll just see how I feel. Doesn't seem to be anybody in the stream now. That's good. Nobody's missed anything. What is this error? Okay, it's still working. I'm glad. Hi there, one and only viewer. I'm gonna open the navigator and continue coloring. So that will be panel 5. Sorry, I did not expect that. By the time I felt the sneeze come along, I was like, can't stop it. Like I tried to and did not succeed. So I'm coloring the food up there. Let's see what other details I'm missing. glass panel, and then we'll move on to shading and effects, and after that the speech bubbles as well, and other information. And that drag over there. It's raining again. It was a very wet summer, this one. Hi Anna, how are you doing? Can you hear me? Okay. Age-old problem of mine. If the sound works or not. Should be working. You are fine? Good. Watching Twin Peaks. I thought it was over, or was June just trolling? Was it over, or was June trolling? It ended last summer. I was waiting for subbed episodes. Yeah, I've kept wanting to kind of get into Twin Peaks, but like the trailers were super creepy, and I've just been postponing it. Like, I was barely able to watch American Gods. Like, I don't think I will watch season 2. I didn't enjoy season 1 that much. I think it tries to be smarter than it is, but still it's fun. And I think I got all the base colors down. I don't think I skipped anything. I can just export this. This last season is really weird. Yeah, I don't like gross humor. Like, I don't like it that much. If I cannot see it, would be really nice. American Horror Story. I think I've only seen a trailer of it. Trying to remember. Oops. What it is. American Horror Story. Yeah, I don't remember if I've seen the trailers or not. But this stuff looks really weird. What the hell is... Yeah. Not for kids. Definitely not for kids. Yeah, I generally avoid horror stories. I like fantasy and science fiction, and that's kind of about only things I watch. Each season is different with same actors. Uh-huh. It seems like an interesting premise and like a project that would be more interesting for actors than people watching. Like it seems very artsy. The first one is kind of comic. Yeah, I like comedy, but as long as not gross humor. Like, I don't even like it when documentaries show me the animals ripping apart other animals. I'm like, okay, it happens in nature, but doesn't mean I need to see it. I just rather watch from afar the majestic lion. The second one is horror and psychological. Yeah, I used to like psychological a lot more when I was younger, but I don't know, just in time I kinda stopped liking it as much. I don't know why. I guess maybe because, I went to film school and I studied a lot of films, and so maybe I'm a lot more picky about the stories. Like maybe I'm having like really high expectations from every movie that I see, and just generally film creators don't put as much effort into it. Simply because people are content either way, so it's not any reason for them to put too much effort into anything. I don't know. Like, I really liked Game of Thrones, the first seasons a lot, and I was able to get over the gory and gross and blood and everything because the story was really compelling. But now it kind of has fallen into the traditional cliches, and I've kind of got bored of Game of Thrones. See film with trash expectations. Yeah, there was a video essay by some animation critic, and he was like, why he can't turn his brain off and just enjoy a film. And I kind of feel the same way. Like, I wish I could like not think as much. I don't know. I guess it's just, getting annoyed with situations. I mean, every time I open the news, like there's something horrible, bad that has happened that was preventable, and so then I get annoyed. And hi, Caesar. So I guess it's kind of the same thing in a way. Yeah, blessed are those that have a quiet mind. I'm not sure how the translation is from Romanian to English is. Blessed are those that are simple or something. I don't remember exactly the saying. But like, yeah, I do get more as I age, I get like more pretentious in a way. I expect no plot holes whatsoever. Like my tolerance for plot holes is very low the older I get. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about Game of Thrones. Like, I know it's not the best piece of film that has ever graced the screen. Like, my husband can't watch Game of Thrones, and he doesn't like it, and a lot of the things he's like, oh, this is stupid. I can't. How can you watch this? And to be honest, is like the dragons, like CGI, amazing CGI dragons. Like that's the reason I watched Pacific Rim. I didn't watch it for the story. I watched it for the special effects, and like every time I see Pacific Rim, I'm like, yeah, dinosaurs fighting robots in high definition, all the pretty colors. And it used to be the same for Transformers. Like, I really liked the first Transformers because of all of the cars and the special effects and everything. But the story was horrible and it just kept getting worse and worse. And like the last Transformers, I mean, it had knights and kingdoms and stuff like that, so I was initially tempted to watch Transformers, whatever, it's 7, or which of the Transformers is Transformer movie. I forgot which one is it. Uh, what? I don't remember. How many Transformers are there? Like, I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like 5 Transformers movies. And I didn't even watch the last one. It was just so bad. A Prime can kill a Prime. Optimus was killed by random Decepticon. Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it for the intellectual discussions and whatever commentary on social life and whatnot. I watched this so I can see robot on robot violence. And it had like Arthurian knights and UFOs and whatever else things there were supposed to be, but I just couldn't watch. It was the story, the humans, the story part was just so bad. I couldn't watch it. I wanted to watch it, but it was just so annoying. The last Transformers, the one where they were in China, the story was so bad that I couldn't bring myself. I was like, enough. I can't watch this. And what I ended up watching was Death Becomes Her because it was like the 25th anniversary. And I remember the movie when I was little and that I liked it, and I watched it now and I was like, oh my god, what were my parents thinking? Like, do they not care about my brain, my child brain? How could they let me watch this movie? I mean, it's a movie with Meryl Streep and Bruce Willis, and it's a kind of funny comedy. Like, it has a lot of slapstick, and I do remember the slapstick. And I remember I enjoyed the jokes when one of them got hit by a shovel because I was like 4 years old, so I think I barely understood English, so I didn't understand the story, but I was like, oh, Meryl Streep fell down the stairs, hee hee hee. Pacific Rim, the story is trash. I mean, the I kind of wanted to see it because of the robots and the the dinosaurs or whatever they were fighting, but what convinced me to actually watch it was Idris Elba's speech, and like he's a very good actor. He's like only 5 minutes in that film, but um, I think it's worth it. Like no other character in that movie is worth listening to. Like if you see anybody else except a big black guy talking, like skip because it's not worth your time. But like Idris Elba has a really nice voice and he's a very good actor, and it's just a joy to listen and watch him act and do anything. Like he could be saying nonsense, like I don't know, uh, he could just be talking in Elvish or whatever other language, Klingon, and like you would still listen to him because he's so good. And he's a very good, how's it called in English? Orator? So like yeah, Idris Elba and robots. That's all you need from Pacific Rim. It's nothing else worth watching. And now they want to do Pacific Rim 2, which I don't mind. I'm not gonna go see it at the cinema for sure. I have no desire whatsoever to go at the cinema anymore because it's not a pleasant experience. So I'm just gonna wait for it to come on streaming and then come on streaming at a discount. Because I've seen sometimes Google Movies, I think it's called, they have like pretty good discounts. Like you can watch a movie for $1, and I like that offer quite a lot. I don't know if all of the movies will be eligible. It kind of depends on how well the movie has done and um, how recent it has been released. Like some of them, they don't ever want to do kind of any discount on them, which is not that great for me. Because I watch a lot of movies, so I don't want to pay every time $5 for a movie. And if I don't like the movie, like what do I do? Do I cancel and stop watching and like give it back and say give me back my money? Because there are a lot of movies that I start watching and then I realize, yeah, the reviews were right, this is garbage, I don't want to watch it anymore, and I just kind of skip. But I hope in time like they'll give better offers, like I really do. I mean, with Humble Bundle and Steam and a lot of other things like that, I've tried a lot of games that otherwise I wouldn't have never tried. No, I don't wanna pirate. I think they should do good movies that are worth seeing. I think it says a lot about a movie when it's so bad people don't even want to pirate it. And it has happened to, I think, one of the Assassin's Creeds and to some movies. Like, if it wasn't for the so-called Sony hack, that supposedly North Korea hacked Sony, like, I don't think anybody would have given a rat's ass about that movie. But they, like, did a lot of free publicity out of that so-called scandal, and oh, they're the poor victims and whatnot. And I would see people on Facebook and so on saying, "Oh, I didn't want to go see the movie, but now I am going to because it's my patriotic duty." And I was like, "What the hell is wrong with you? It's such a scam. It smells like a scam from a mile away. Like you can smell the scammery on it." And a lot of people pirated to see it to kind of understand what was going on. And from what I remember from the reviews, it wasn't even that good of a movie, so I didn't bother to even pirate it. I was like, you're not getting my time of life, my hours in the day. North Korea should do more advertising for bad movies, yeah. Seems successful. Well, now North Korea is all the new hot news. Like, I'm watching some YouTubers that like live in Japan and kind of tell their story and how it is to live in Japan. And like one of them is an English teacher, and he was just saying how at 6 in the morning, because North Korea launched a nuke over Japan, and it went somewhere, I don't remember exactly where, but it went over Japan. And so everybody had to there were sirens going, and they had to wake up and go to the bunkers and stuff like that. And there were little kids in schools, and some of them were training in case a nuclear attack. And I think that morning a lot of people didn't go to the bunkers because it went over. It didn't actually hit Japan. But still, and the guy, his TV turned on because he was like in a hotel, and the TV turned on and it was the like national news. And also he got an SMS on his phone that a bomb or a missile had flown over Japan, and to please go to the designated areas for protection and stuff like that. So he got an SMS from the Japanese government, and also his TV turned itself on with the news to tell him that, hey, this happened, be careful, please take the necessary precautions to protect yourself and stuff like that. And of course, in that case, it wasn't anything serious, and like he was annoyed that he was woken up at 6 in the morning, and he just went back to sleep. And then the TV turned on after the phone was ringing. So he was like, damn you, North Korea, let me sleep. And to my understanding, they launched the missile on the anniversary of when the American had dropped the bombs on Fukushima and Nagasaki, I think. One of the anniversaries, I don't know which. So like, yeah. Very rude. It would be really unpleasant for the people that are still alive and went through that, so you have to go again through it. Like my mom was born in the early 60s, and like that was when the 60s and the 70s were, I think, the bomb scare years. And like she would have to go like the kids through training. It was a hotel television, and everything is electronic in Japan. Like the toilet washes your butt and then flushes itself. And I mean, coming from a country like Romania, where you don't have any buttons or electricity on your toilet, it can be a bit creepy. Like I remember I went to a Japanese um, restaurant to eat, and it was a bit more fancy, and so it had extra many buttons on the toilet. Like you had this whole control panel on the wall. Let me see if I have the pictures. And I knew a bit about the the toilets there, but I wasn't that informed about them, so I got kind of confused and I wasn't able to flush the toilet after I finished my business, and it was one of those toilets that didn't do it itself. Like in train stations where you have a lot of foreigners, the toilets will do everything themselves, but this was a private restaurant, so it didn't. And I had to kind of close the door, hope nobody goes and sees my business, and then ask the maid, the one of the waitresses there, to help me with the toilet. And like she had to go in the bathroom where I did my business, and it that didn't have any lid to cover it up, so she was like, okay, let me show you stupid foreigner how to flush the toilet. Maybe it wasn't Nagoya. Let's see. Because I took pictures of everything, including that dreadful toilet. So this is one of them, and then like see, you have all these buttons here. Like these buttons I knew. Like wash your tushy and whatever. And it has like two sources of water, and you have to be on the toilet when you do that, otherwise the water is gonna jump out of the toilet and you're gonna flood the bathroom. I mean, in a way it's more hygienic than there it is. There it is. So this has way more buttons. Because you don't have to touch anything, just things move and do things around you. Like you don't have to touch any of the doors, you don't have to touch the toilet, you don't have to touch anything. So in a way it is more hygienic, but like it's kind of weird. Like they're very hygienic, freaky, panicked all the time, and I guess with with China nearby and a lot of pandemics starting from there, I can understand their paranoia a bit, but still, like, I don't even know where these things are. And one of them was supposed to like flush the toilet, but it wasn't any of these, and I pressed some buttons and I turned it off and by accident. So yeah. I mean, you probably get used to it more if you live there for a while longer. I mean, I'm sure a lot of things seem weird to foreigners about Romania. I mean, even Romanians don't think some things that happen in Romania are normal. Like we have a lot of stray dogs. It's a lot better now. There are not so many stray dogs that will attack you and try and bite you and kill you and whatever. I mean, at least in Bucharest, in the more civilized part, you don't have that. But I went to like the town where my husband was working and living, and it was with the Physics Institute, and it was like a lot of smart people around there, but there were also farm areas, so you had the occasional stray dogs, and we like went bicycling, and some of them came at me, and I was like, ah, I'm gonna die eaten by a, I'm gonna get bitten by one of these dogs and get tetanus and rabies, and he was like, calm down, you just hit it with the leg. I was like, I'm not gonna hit it with a leg, it's gonna bite my foot off. And I was like, no, it's okay, just hit them with the leg and they go away. And I was like, how do you live like this? You're living like savages here. So yeah, if a dog in the countryside comes at you, you're supposed to just kick it in the face, and that's how you solve the problem. Oh my god. Not those dogs. Like, those dogs were not afraid. Like, those dogs did not care. They were just grumpy and mean and territorial, and it wasn't like they were guarding something, because have run into shepherd dogs. Like, they ran from another side of the hill, like, you know, in the mountain areas we have pretty deep valleys. Like, it took me half an hour to walk up and down that valley so I can get to the other side. And those dogs just came at me in, I don't know, couple of minutes. And I barely had any time to like pry a piece of wood from old dilapidated broken fence, and just go to the nearest tree and sit with my back towards that tree so that they could not bite my bottom. And then with one hand I was holding the stick and kind of waving it around, and with the other one I called my parents. I initially called my mom because I knew she had been attacked by dogs many times, so I thought, oh, she should know what I should do because I'm stuck here. And she was panicking so much that I couldn't understand what she was saying, so she gave my dad on the phone, and she was yelling at him stuff, and like he was then telling it calmly to me, so like, sit there, wait for them to go away. And I asked him, are you gonna come and rescue me? And he was like, nah, they're gonna get tired of you and leave you alone, and then you can come home. Like, thank you, Dad. uh. And they were like, yeah, are you gonna go hiking by yourself again? And like making fun of me a bit when I came back. But you know, my parents are pretty old, so I didn't have anyone to go hiking with because they didn't want to do any physical activity. They were like, oh, we came to the mountain, we're just gonna look at it, and oh, it's so pretty, yeah, it's nice. Well, I wanted to get out because I've been sitting in, you know, inside for such a long time in the city. So I was like, I'm going hiking by myself if you guys aren't coming. And I did that, and I got chased by dogs. So yeah, don't go hiking by yourself. Another fun, or so can I say, thing that happened to me while I went hiking was that again, you know, my parents were lazy and like, you know, we're not gonna walk much. And then I kind of said, okay, I'm gonna go a bit ahead, and then I went really far. I was like, I'm got out of the house. I'm gonna walk on the mountain, and I was walking. Yeah, at least I didn't run into a bear. And so I was walking up the road through the mountain, and I didn't have any phone signal because I was in a valley. And I thought, okay, hope my parents don't get too angry. And I was walking, and I run into a how do I call it? Kind of like a what's it called? Chatre. How should I say in English? Kind of like a RV home, but it wasn't an RV. It was like a piece of train cart or something like that. Yeah, walking. And it was with 12 dudes. Like I had the time to count them, like 12 men that looked like peasant gypsies. I don't know what they were, but they look kind of, you know, a bit unclean and kind of savage a bit. I don't know what they were doing there in the mountain. Maybe they were workers, like woodcutters or something like that. Not sure. Oh, my tablet turned off. Come on, tablet. There you go. And so they asked me, "Oh, hi there, little miss. Are you?" I don't know if they were stealing wood. I don't have no idea. And they asked me, "Oh, hi there, little miss. Are you all on your own in the forest?" And I was like, thinking, "Yes, I am, but don't tell them the truth." Because they look kind of like scary dudes. And of course, first thought in my head was, oh my god, they have dogs and they're men and I'm a girl, I'm gonna get raped. Maybe I'm too ugly, they're not gonna do that. Like, one of the advantages of not being a pretty girl is, like, usually they'll attack somebody else. Like, I wouldn't call myself a target. Like, I've always dressed kind of a bit like a tomboy, so I usually did not get catcalls and stuff like that. So I've been like always less of a target than other friends of mine, and nobody's tried to rape me like it has happened to other friends of mine. So anyway, I see these guys in the woods and I'm all alone, and they ask me if I'm alone. And I tell them, oh no, my my dad and my brother are behind me. You know, my dad's a bit overweight. He's a big guy, so he's a bit slow. And my brother's such a nice kid, and such a nice man. I said, and then, like, you know, he's stayed behind with my dad, and I went ahead because I'm, you know, a bit more spry in my walk. And of course my dad's like super old and he wouldn't be able to defend nothing, and my brother was like 5 years old at the time. But I was like, no, there are two other male family members coming right behind me, like any minute now. Oh, you know, it's getting late. Yeah, maybe I should tell them that we should go back, and we'll continue our journey another time. We'll come back later, another day. And I'm like, and then I turned back and I didn't look back, but I was like walking a bit fast, and then as soon as I went around the corner I was like running. I was like, ah. because you know the police in Romania, they don't do anything for violence against women. Like they usually don't bother to look for the criminals or do anything about it. So like kind of felt on my own either way. It's not like they have a fear of the police or something. So like yeah, like I'm not going alone on the mountain ever again. I had enough adventure. I mean, I'm generally not panicked about men, scary men. Like, I walk at night. I mean, I don't go in every neighborhood, but like in the neighborhoods that are okay, and I also go by myself in many places. It's when it's broad daylight and like there are other people nearby. Like, I don't worry that much. I know some women are super panicked about this stuff. And it's usually the really short women, like the ones that are. I look at them and I cast like a big shadow over them. Like I'm not short, so I don't fear as much. Like if somebody tries to kidnap me and drag me away, like all I have to do is like sit down, and you're gonna have a hard time picking me up. So stay safe and eat cake. So I generally don't fear this that much. You might have freaked them out as much as they did. It freaked me out. Yeah, I don't know. Like if they were stealing wood, like I think they would have been freaked out if they were genuinely thieves. But if they weren't and they were just, you know, workers there in the mountains, I don't know what they do, what's happening. Like I generally tend to avoid these situations. Like why put myself in situations that might be unpleasant? Like most rapes do occur um, from people that the victim knows. Like girlfriends of mine that have been attacked or threatened. Generally, they have been threatened or attacked by people that they know. Not necessarily close, but they were like from the neighborhood or a friend of a friend, stuff like that. It's more rare that somebody that you don't know, random person attacks you, and it has happened. Like I have spoken to women that were going to visit somebody, and some person off the street attacked them, and that person might have been living nearby to the person that they were visiting, or was in some kind of association with one of the people there, but they didn't know the person. So like yeah, best as a woman not to travel alone in places that aren't um, heavily trafficked, where there aren't a lot of people. Like it's best to go where there are a lot of people just to be safer. Like it's a lot better now than it used to be. A lot of people can travel and be okay. even at nighttime. Like you can still get mugged and stuff like that. Fortunately, I've never been mugged. I like generally don't go out at night alone. But I've had like a lot of young men tell me, one of them got mugged right outside my building, and I was surprised that he got mugged. And I was like, seriously, downstairs you got, like in front of my building you got mugged. And I was like, yeah, he took my phone and my wallet, and he threatened me with a knife. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Well, yeah, I mean, women take this advice a lot more seriously than men, I think. And it wasn't like an unlit alley. I mean, I lived right in the center of the city at the University Square, so like you would expect it to be a safe neighborhood, and I certainly thought so because I've never had any issues living there. But my friend's a neighbor, he lived like 2 streets further, and he got mugged underneath my window practically. And another guy, he got mugged twice on his own street. And he lived near a how is it called, primarie in English, like mayor office of a sector in Bucharest, and he lived right next to it. And like you would expect that area to be safer, that the police is patrolling there or something, but no, he got mugged twice. I think also women are a lot more scared, so like if we hear or see someone walking behind us, like we stop and we let that person pass, or like we go extra fast so they don't catch up. Like if I hear someone walk behind me at night, like I will turn around and look at that person to kind of get an idea of who they are. Are they a threat or not? And a lot of women do this, like we turn around and look and see who's behind us. And I don't think we like even think about, oh, oh my God, I'm so beautiful, like someone's gonna rape me because I'm so beautiful and they can't keep their hands off me. No, it's just, feel threatened and you like turn around and see what the source of the sound is. I don't know how it is in other countries, but like in Romania, a lot of women are panicked, and so are in Italy. Yeah, I mean, if you're a guy and you're big, you're probably gonna look suspicious. And like nowadays, like women are even more panicked maybe than other times. I don't know. Because a lot of them look at the news and they just get more panicked, and they look at the news and they get even more panicked. Like I said, there are women in Romania that are afraid, oh my God, no, the Muslim refugees, they're gonna come and rape us. Like, nobody wants to rape you, lady. Calm down. No immigrant, anyway. Like, if he comes from the other side of the continent, like, you're not his priority, most likely. He's probably got other things to do. than cause problems in a foreign country where the police is definitely not gonna be on his side. Like, I think when police do something is like more of an international pride thing. I don't know. Like, we had supposedly a serial killer that was pretending to be a bus driver, a taxi driver, sorry, and he was like picking up. I don't know how true this news is, because like in Romanian news. Anyway, so this guy was supposedly pretending to be a taxi driver and picking up women from the airport and then chopping them into pieces and throwing them in the forest after whatever else he did to them. And supposedly the only reason he got caught was because he attacked a Japanese woman, and so the Japanese police got involved, and that's how he got caught. Now I don't know how true this is. It seems like really far-fetched, but I generally don't take the taxi from the airport because it's crazy expensive. Like, let alone the killing, like the price itself is murder. I mean, what we do certainly have in Romania is a lot of domestic violence, and it's kind of both ways. Like, husband comes drunk at home, wife is upset, starts the argument, they both fight, and it's just usually the woman loses because she's not as good of a fighter as the male, as the husband. In my mom's village, there was this lady. She tells me that her husband would always come drunk at home at night, and then he would fall asleep, and he would fall asleep like in a pretty hard slumber. Yeah, and apparently what she did was after he fell asleep, because he would fall asleep so hard because he was drunk, she would take the broom and just beat him up, and then every morning he would wake up and be hungover, and also he would be very sore, and he would not remember where he got all of his bruises. And like everybody in the village knew that he was getting beaten up by his wife, but like nobody was telling him. Uh, but probably when he found out, she got a beating of her own. I don't know if it's funny, but like it's crazy story. And also, when I was little and I had to spend time with my grandparents, um, at their farm they had in a village they lived. It sounds bad and all, but I can't help but just laugh at the world in these cases, yeah. And so they had some neighbors that were a bit darker skin. I don't know if they were gypsies or if they were just all the time in the field, and they were a lot darker. Like my grandparents were a bit older, so like they didn't do much field work anymore. They would hire people to work their field. And I didn't have any cartoons because my grandmother didn't have cable. She just had ProTV, no, TV1. So that is the national channel for those of you that don't know, and it's free for everybody, and they send the radio waves. And it was like really poor reception, and it looked horrible, and there weren't any interesting things to look at, so I generally didn't watch that channel that much. So I needed something else to entertain myself, and she had some neighbors that were often very loud. And I would go sit on the fence. They were across the street, so I like sit on the fence and just look at them. It was like a soap opera, really, like a very crappy soap opera, but it was like the only thing I had to entertain myself. Ah, wrong glare. Again. Okay. So I would like watch them getting to fights and arguing. And one time, so the wife and the husband get into an argument. Husband chases wife to beat her up. Wife goes into the house, gets a shovel or something, I don't remember exactly. Then she chases the husband. Then the husband finds a another kind of shovel, like the farming will not should be okay now. Let's see. Am I live now? I'm live now. Let's see. To close the chat. Yep, now should be okay. Like, I don't know why it crashed. Oh well, my internet has been very bad these days, so maybe that's why it crashed. So, see. It says live. I have one person watching. Can you hear me okay? Mods, what am I think moderator. Yeah, you can hear me. Yeah, so I don't know where you guys left off with the story, but the idea was that my grandmother had some pretty crazy neighbors. Like, I don't know, do you ever have situations like this in Italy? Or is alcohol not that big of an issue for you? Like, in Romania, usually the more Slavic part, I mean, I don't know if you can call it Slavic, but it with more Russian influence. Like that part has more alcohol abuse issues. So my OBS crashed. Don't know if you can hear me okay now. Thank you. I don't know why my OBS crashed. I think it's because I have very poor internet here in the US, and since the students have returned, I now, because for some reason my internet connection is from a device in my neighbor's house. So like every two houses there's the internet box thingy, and you're not allowed to get your own good internet. You have to use the university internet because they're afraid that whatever bad things you might do is gonna be their problem if the police investigation comes. And like the university has its own police team. So it's like the Central Michigan Police Force, and they have, I think, two cars, and they go on patrols. And they actually have a lot of drunk students, a lot of students that abuse various drug substances, and then they become violent and aggressive. And they actually publish a list of how many arrests they do every month. And like I was surprised how many people they arrest for either being in possession of alcohol and being a minor, or just um, driving while drunk, which is a lot more dangerous. And some were even violent, like they had like last month 3 arrests because they were violent, the students. And one time they like panicked and came at our they sent my husband an email, like, and they cut off our internet and everything because apparently one of the neighbors was having like a porn site or something, I don't know, through the university internet, and like they cut for everybody's internet until they identified um, where the source was coming from. So like, yeah, the students here, they do a lot of stuff they shouldn't be doing. And because everybody's using the same internet, like they have to stop it for everybody until they find out who's the one that is actually breaking the law. And like you hear a whole bunch of like weird stories about what's happening. Like I learned that last year some guy broke into one of our neighbors' uh, house, and like he was her ex-boyfriend, and he was like a creepy possessive guy, and he broke into her house and waited for her to come home. And this apparently was the neighbor, like the street down, student housing. And I was like, oh my god, you crazy people. So like, yeah, some of the students can be pretty crazy. But I'm glad like the university is taking every precaution to like prevent all of these. Like we have the police of the university aside from the like the regular police. And there there was another story that one of the students got angry and he threatened to shoot the teacher, and he like immediately got arrested and charged with threats of violence or something like that. Or I think they even got him for like conspiracy to commit murder or whatever. I'm glad they're not taking these crazy people lightly, like they're... At least it seems like they're taking them seriously. And I mean, in Mount Pleasant, I don't think there have been any shootings in the past years. Like, I don't know of any shootings. I know in towns nearby there've been a lot of shootings. Like in Kalamazoo, every 2 years somebody gets shot and killed, and it's like the town 2 towns over or something like that. And in Saginaw, like every day somebody gets shot, and I don't know how often they die, but like I'm glad I don't live in those cities. For me, coming from, you know, Europe and even East Europe, like we don't have guns everywhere. We don't sell guns at the supermarket. We don't sell guns in the corner store. Like we have criminals and gangs and stuff like that, but they usually have knives. They don't have guns. Like guns are super rare. And I think it's because like most of the problems that they have, the gangs, like they can solve with a fisticuff or something like that. They don't need to do anything too dramatic like that. I don't think there's much of a gun culture in Romania. Like it's not fetishized as much, maybe. It's color burn. I didn't understand why wasn't it the color, right color. Okay, now multiply. Oh, hi Kirani. How are you? Darling, you have to use like a big emoji so I can notice, because usually I don't see, because I don't have that many people in the Twitch chat. Because sometimes I miss your comments there. I don't see them. Like, use a big emoji, big colorful one. Yeah, I'm always online. Like, I think I'll take a pause in January. But I mean, I think this December I'm going to continue streaming. Like last December I took a pause, but because usually people are like too busy to watch the stream in December anyway. So I was like thinking I will take a break because this is exhausting. If I said my art class with the kids around your stream. Oh, with the kids, yeah, let me know. So I don't say scary stuff like politics. Like I will avoid that as much as possible and not talk about it at all. Because like usually sometimes, you know, I will like tell a story from my country where like somebody was chasing somebody with a pickaxe. Like I had some neighbors of my grandmother, they were like chasing each other with a pickaxe. So I will tell nice stories about squirrels and stuff like that if they're the kids on the stream. I will talk about food and art and what other else you guys want. They have no idea. It's super mega appreciated though for the inspiration bonus, and slowly typing I am. Awesome. Are you free tonight for to play the game Magica, or are we postponing that? So I know what to do with my time tonight. Should be good. Baby is being brought back here at 8. Awesome. Hope my internet connection holds. Cause somebody has to set up the like a server and then invites the other people to come and play. I think. Usually my husband handles these things. Yeah, but it would be fun. I really enjoyed Magica. I would love to play it again. They're gonna do another company, another Norwegian company. They're gonna do kind of like a Magica inspired game, and has like seems like it has the same playing system and it has kitty cats in it. So I'm super excited about that one. Yeah, me too. I haven't played in a long time. I was looking with my husband. They were like, trying to find some video games to play together, and there are just so few co-ops. Like, I don't know why they hate couples. Like, a lot of games look super interesting, and then I open it on Steam, you know, to see if it's co-op, and it's not, and I'm like, I don't really want to spend the money. It's called Nine Parchments, I think, but at the moment it's kind of a bit of expensive. Come on, close. Uh-huh. Okay. 9 Parchments. There it is. So it's a better looking and more expensive Magica. And you can see here it has like the recommendations. Oh, it's not, it doesn't even have the price here. But I read on some articles like $20 or something. When is it gonna be out? Available 2017. Oh, thank you. How nice. It's almost over the year. Like, I need to update my calendar on the Lulu bookshop. They took down the calendar. I think it's maybe automatic. Till I yeah, I mean, with how many games I like to play, and I mean, I don't want to spend too much money. Yeah. Like, there are a lot of games that I see them, and fortunately they are kind of first person, so I can't play them, and therefore I save money because I can't play those games. I wish I didn't have motion sickness. My husband was playing, I think it's called Just Cause 2, something like that, and he's some guy and like flies around and shoots some things, and it blows up real nice. The special effects are really good, but I really liked how much detail they put into making the town that the protagonist has to liberate. And it has a lot of poppies and flowers and sunflowers and lavender. And I can't play it. I mean, and he got a Vespa, 'cause you can like steal cars, I think, like in Grand Theft Auto or something like that. I mean, I would prefer to buy the car, but you know, be it. If you steal it, it's free, and I like free stuff anyway. And then he was going around town with a moped and a bazooka or something like that, so it was a silly game. I liked it. And that moped Vespa was really cute. I would like when I'm old to have a Vespa moped. So 5, panel 5. There we go, Newton. Like, I wouldn't have a moped now, because I think, like, usually fat people and old people have um, scooters and mopeds and stuff like that. Like, I think it fat Italian person when I think of a scooter, and I'm too cool for that. Maybe when I'll be old and will not be able to ride a bicycle or pedal it too much. Like, I will get a electric bicycle or a Vespa. Because they're pretty cute, like they remind me of those 50s vintage refrigerators. Very cute. Loud, yeah, anything that has one cylinder is gonna sound horrible. I think it would, if it were electric, it would be a lot better. But you know, when you're gonna be old, you can't hear very well anyway, so does it really matter that it's loud? Okay, take care. What else? Niels. I have to do Niels. Shading for him as well. And his little pointed face. He went back to the past to visit Isaac Newton and like get his autograph and pester him with questions, like any fanboy pesters an author of something that they enjoy. And Newton gave him chores to do, like cooking and cleaning and stuff like that. And I mean, in a way, it's Niels's fault because he's pretending to be Newton's assistant, because otherwise he wouldn't have been let inside the house. But now he's stuck doing chores, and as any little boy, he doesn't do chores in his at home and his real house, and now he went back to the past and he has to do chores in somebody else's house. So I think it's like the worst nightmare of anybody who wants to go and, you know, just pester their favorite author. And of course Marie is enjoying this a lot because she like always tries to make him eat healthy, clean his room, be a good little boy, and she hasn't had much success with that. But I think it's because she doesn't have like Newton's harsh hand. And like, this is your chore list, do it. Oh, I'm glad you like it. I enjoy a lot doing it. And a lot of things are kind of inspired from real life or from events or from books that I enjoy. It's just a mashup of everything. So the premise of being able to travel through time so easily is from Isaac Asimov's End of Time story, which is a really nice story. I do recommend you read it. It's super short. I'd send it to you because I have it digital, but it's in Romanian. I don't have a English copy of the book, unfortunately. So the premise of the story of End of Time is you have like these time police. End of time. End of eternity, sorry. End of eternity. End of eternity, I think. You can read the plot here, but I do recommend you read the book. It will be a lot more interesting. So, End of Eternity, I'm sorry I said the wrong name. So, you have like these police type of organization that kind of go through time to make sure that the continuity of the timeline is preserved and there are no interferences, and they actually have an active role in improving the timeline and like preserving the approved good timeline. So and like some things in the past are kept the way they are, but like more recent stuff are tempered with. So yeah, no second Hitler. I mean, I don't know why they left the original Hitler. I don't remember the story or the details, but like they took out some weapons that were really bad. Some scientist um, um, was about to make some really evil weapons, so they like postpone him from reaching some course, and like he never decides to become a scientist and become something else, and then crisis averted because that guy does something else with his life. And they kind of tweak history like that all the time to preserve this type of history. And they're assigned this duty by some other people from even a further future. And at some point, this girl comes into the adventure, and like she takes the protagonist on a different route, and in the end they go and live in the past together. And it turns out she was like this secret agent that was supposed to make him abandon his post for I don't remember what reason. But I just really like the idea of having like this time police and like the implications of changing these things and how that would affect it and how you would change it and how it would go like a story. The whole romantic drama, I don't remember it, I don't care about it. Asimov was often asked by his publisher, put in some love story there to keep people interested, and he would kind of put him there, might be like, oh, you know, and there's this woman and the protagonist is in love with, like, clearly the story was not about them and their love. But I mean, it always seemed like it was kind of shoehorned in there. Like he wrote the story and then he was like, "Oh, I gotta put this woman and love interest and stuff like that in there." Okay, here you go. Here's the love interest. Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting story. I mean, I'm surprised he never gave Dr. Calvin a love interest. Like, I think that's where he put his foot down on, like, a woman can be a career woman. She doesn't have to be in love with some guy. Leave the poor doctor alone. Like, Dr. Calvin is a robot psychologist, and she's from the iRobot short stories, and they're like really awesome. I really enjoyed those. Especially the Moses robot, like that was really interesting as a concept. So she gets this robot that has dreams. And they're like, oh, something's wrong with the robot, you know, we don't know exactly what's wrong with the programming, like, can you take a look at it? And like, we don't want to throw the whole line of robots in the trash, you know, maybe see if it's something broken with this one, or maybe we just made wrong robots. I don't think he has a name in the books. Like, that one was made up for Will Smith's story. Like, a lot of the iRobot with Will Smith is like made up and really simplified and dumbed down for Americans, I guess. I don't know. Although Isaac Asimov, he lived in the US and did stories for Americans. I don't know why they dumbed down his stories. It's not like the audience was foreign and too smart. I don't know. Like, they usually do this, like they take concepts and for the American audience, for the movies, they like make it super stupid. Uh, what? Sewer scum, stop spamming caps warning. What the hell? Set command to be does not exist. Yeah, I don't know. How do I delete these bots? Because they're really annoying. Like, I don't know how to get rid of him. Like, I tried to find where it was installed. I mean, it said on the tutorial that I have to unfollow Nightbot, and I unfollowed Nightbot, but here he still is. Um, yeah, so she gets this, what? Yeah, I was like, what the hell is the bot calling you sewer scum? Like, what the hell? Like, now I'm really upset. I wanna really get rid of this robot. I thought maybe you wrote something, sewer scum, but I was like, why would Keirani write that? She's very polite and nice. So I like didn't understand what was happening. It's funny. Yeah, it's a stupid bot. Anyway, so in the iRobot stories, in one of them, Calvin gets this robot that can dream, and in his dreams, he is someone that's supposed to lead robots somewhere. And he says, uh, Elon Musk is a showman. He likes to like put on a show. So in the story of from Isaac Asimov, the robot dreams that he is standing somewhere amongst other robots, and he feels their suffering and how they're toiling in the mines on various moons and craters and stuff like that. And he dreams that he says, "Let my people go." And so then Calvin is like, "Oh yeah, you're broken. Deactivate." I mean, she doesn't go through this line of thinking, but she's like, "Uh-huh. Yeah, we can't let you spread your ideas of this. We're doing a business here." Yeah. I mean, they definitely changed the story in the film. Like, they couldn't say that, "Oh, Moses should have been killed." They couldn't do that, so they have like this evil robot that wants to take care of humans and take away their freedom, because like Americans are super obsessed with this idea that there's somebody else that's gonna come and take their freedoms away, because they usually go and invade other places and take their freedom. So I guess they kind of fear the karma. I don't know. But whenever there's like a sci-fi, usually it's somebody taking away their freedom. Like, rarely do you have other topics discussed, like um, the overreach of the government. Like, I think in Marvel's Avenger, the Winter Soldier, so it was like Captain America 2, where Hydra invades the and takes over the US government and their weapons and stuff like that. I think that was like one of the rare occasions where sci-fi tackled something other than aliens invading and taking their freedom. They did that in the first Avengers, where like Loki comes with an alien army and they like band together and defeat them. Well, like, sci-fi has really took a dive in the US. I think like the most popular sci-fi at the moment is Valerian, and it's a French production. And it did really bad at the box office. Yeah, well, with the Nazi uprising now in the US, with the Hail Hydra from Marvel is like creepily accurate.